The Madman!
At the Darkmoon Faire.
Come one, come all. It's the top 10 countdown at the Madness of the Darkmoon Faire. Number 10. Minefield. What a great card for Control Warriors. One of the reasons that Control Warlock was good is because they had Dark Skies. Warrior now gets it, for 1 less mana and without the hand requirement. It's got a really specific reason to exist, and that reason is to stop aggro, so that you can play your old gods and your value cards. Great plan. Number 9. Hammer of the Naaru. Pure value card. A great addition to pure Paladin, and just a good Paladin card. Very hard to imagine not running this in any Paladin deck. Has some unique synergies in that with N'Zoth you can get back the very unique elemental tag. But even pushing the N'Zoth thing aside, it's not very necessary. It's just a good card. If you consider a 6/6 taunt to be worth about 5 mana, it's certainly not a stretch to say bundling a 3/3 weapon with it is worth more than 1 mana, considering that bundling something is already worth +1 mana. So you're basically getting a 3/3 weapon alongside the taunt for like free. Number 8. Carnival Clown. This is a bit of a bold claim, but I do believe that the meta will have enough room where you do need value to compete against other control decks that you need to slot in a big value card, and Carnival Clown is that big value card. You get a wave of 28/28 for 9 mana, and even against aggro decks you can just play this in the non-corrupted form and get 12/12 worth of taunt for 9 mana. I myself am thinking of this new meta where Step 1, you actually need to play a 10 mana card to corrupt the Carnival Clown. Step 2, you play your Carnival Clowns. Step 3, you play your Yashraj and get both Carnival Clowns back. I'm an optimistic control player, and I see that happening. Number 7. Cascading Disaster. What a wonderful tool for Control Warlock. Control Warlock already had a bunch of removal, but maybe one of the weaknesses of control decks is that they can't deal with the repeated medium-sized threats from a mid-range deck. A mid-range deck being maybe something like Libram Paladin. Cascading Disaster is a wonderful fix to that. It is 3 kills, basically a board clear, for only 4 mana. That is an incredible card that will certainly boost the control abilities of Control Warlock. Not to mention, you get this card back with Yashraj. Number 6. Bladed Lady. A little bit of a surprise to me that Bladed Lady I ranked this low. It is a 1 mana 6/6 rush for Demon Hunter, and slots right into the number 1 deck in the meta right now. The main reason that she's this low is, surprisingly, I could see a world where the Demon Hunters don't slot her in, because she is replacing basically either Glavebound Adept or Penflinger, both of which are great cards. It's a good quality card. It matches the theme of what Soul Demon Hunter is doing. I think they're going to put it in, but maybe there's a world where they don't, and if they do put it in, it doesn't actually improve the deck by that much, is what I'm going to say. Number 5. Ticketus. This was a card I found myself surprised to put on my top 10 list. I originally thought it was trash, but the big revelation is that you can just have this as your win condition in a Control Warlock deck. Your Control Warlock deck can be purely aimed at defeating aggro, and then you have your Ticketus to defeat the control matchups. You mill them, you play your Yashraj, you get your Ticketus back, you get your Cascading Disaster back, and then you play Ticketus. You're starting with a 30 card deck, they have a 20 card deck, you might have gotten rid of their threats. What Control Warlock may have been missing was a win condition, and Ticketus just might be your ticket. Number 4. YoggSaron. Such a strong card to play. You're playing it from behind, so there's a number of decks that are going to want to play this. Usually control decks, but possibly a deck like Small Spell Mage, which runs out of steam late and then just plays YoggSaron for massive value. They don't have much of a board presence anyways. That's what the YoggSaron deck's like. You run your YoggSaron when you're behind on the board, and then great things happen. Massive value card to be played at the end of a game. Any control deck that's running at least, let's say, 15 spells I think, can afford to run YoggSaron. And 15 spells, meaning that counts if you generate spells. You add that onto the 15. Number 3. Strongman. Pretty strong. It's a 0 mana 6/6 taunt. If you've corrupted it with, anything that costs more than 7. And in a pinch, you can still play it as a 7 mana 6/6 taunt. That's not great. But really the point is to play this alongside your Twisting Nether, and then bam, drop your Strongman. Or you can even play your Troublemaker or your Deathwing, and then bam, drop your Strongman. Or you play your Old God and bam, drop your Strongman. 0 mana 6/6 taunt, even if you can only play it late in the game, I think that's still worth it. Number 2. Yashraj. I think this Old God is going to see play in the sense that there will be control decks in this meta, and the way to beat control decks, if you're a control deck, is to be greedier than that control deck. And so you need Yashraj to provide you the sheer amount of value to push yourself over the other control deck. I think it's exactly the combination of Strongman and Carnival Clown that makes Yashraj so good. And then there's usually like the bonus card that you have in your deck, but I think the baseline is Yashraj gets you massive value when it gets you back the Carnival Clown and Strongman. And then you have way more threats. You have another 2 waves of Carnival Clowns, you have a few 6/6s, just so much potential value. And Yashraj itself, that's a 10/10. This is the card that's going to allow for these control decks to thrive because they have end game value. They have it in the bag if they have that Yashraj. Honorable mention of this set goes to Circus Amalgam. Circus Amalgam is a very handy 4 mana 4/5 taunt that's already pretty decent, and it's all tribes. That means it's a handy card that could slot into a number of decks. Circus Amalgam is a big enabler for N'Zoth, ensuring that you have some amount of taunts and that you'll have a full board when that N'Zoth is played. And let's bring it in for number 1. Sword Eater. This card is absolutely insane. You're gonna see this in Warrior for the next 1 year and a quarter. What an absolute value phenomenon. 4 mana 2/5 taunt and equip basically a Fiery Warlock axe alongside it. If you consider a 2/5 taunt to be worth like maybe 2.5 mana, and you consider the Fire War Axe to be worth maybe 2.5 mana, you're adding those together and getting 5 mana, but you should add in 1 more mana for the packaging. So you're getting a 4 mana card. Valuation wise, I think this card is worth about 6 mana. And the earlier you can play this card, the more relevant the 3/2 weapon is. I'm gonna say that I've considered playing Arathi Weaponsmith in a number of warrior decks, control decks, aggro decks, tempo decks. But Sword Eater makes it a easy decision. You put this in every warrior deck, period. So there's your top 10. By the way, something that might interest you, a lot of these cards actually go into Control Warrior. Be prepared for some Control Warrior value.